So, biology is providing several important tools for understanding, managing, preserving, and restoring the aquatic environment. So, as we know that microorganisms have been employed from last 3 or for treatment of wastewater, then recent developments in molecular tools, techniques, the biology, ecology, and environmental engineering. These offer new opportunities to modify organisms so that their basic biological processes are more efficient and can degrade more complex chemicals and higher volumes of waste material. So, in this way, there are few successes story that has been achieved. The potential benefits of the bioremediations are still far from fully realized. So, if we discuss about the bioremediation, if we go to the term of bioremediation, what is bioremediation? So, with this, I would like to
Use
share the slide.
microorganism to remove pollutants.
Okay. So, anyone else who can say about the bioremediation?
Remedies removed by biological process.
Bioremediation, even in Wikipedia also. So, just I'm sharing the slides. So, please,
Hello.
and this might be visible on your
सर
mobile
आपकी
screen.
वॉइस नहीं आ रही है.
ये वॉइस अभी ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what is bioremediation? So, as we know that microorganisms are used to change harmful substances to non-toxic or less toxic substances. If we see the saprophytic food chain, these are the microorganisms. There are several microorganisms which are involved in this process. And this is nowadays a very recent technology for treating chemical spills and other hazardous waste that creates havoc in case of natural aquatic condition, natural in natural land resources and others. So, bioremediation can be defined as the process in which microorganisms are used to change harmful substances to non-toxic or less toxic substances. So, this process is called bioremediation. And what is the bioremediator? So, bioremediators are nothing but the organism involved in the process of bioremediations are called bioremediators. So, how does it work? So, as we know, there are variety of microorganisms. There are 5 kinds of classification, as we know, that bacteria, fungi, yeast, and they need nutrients. As we have studied, there are versatile group of microbes and their requirement of food is different. The derivation of nutrient from those microbes is different. So, generally, we use these microbes like bacteria, fungi, and yeast that need nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, phosphate, and trace metals to survive, isn't it? So they break down organic compounds found in nature to get energy for growth. And for example, soil bacteria, Actinomycetes. So soil bacteria, Pseudomonas. So these are the soil bacteria, soil inhibiting bacteria. Some of the bacteria, like Pseudomonas, they use petroleum hydrocarbons as a food and energy source, changing them into harmless substances of carbon dioxide, water, and fatty acids. So they break down these complex particulate matters into simpler substances. So an overview, if you can see, so bioremediation is a concept which includes all those processes and actions that take place in biotransformation of an environment already altered by contaminants. So these contaminants, they alter the ecosystem somewhere. So bioremediation is a process through which a microorganism involved for the degradation of complex particulate matters into a simpler substance or in a non-toxic uh, non-toxic form, isn't it? So according to Thasitu and Arvanito Yanis, they have defined this bioremediation concept, and nowadays this is an important tool in which microorganisms either immobilize or transform these environmental contaminants into a less harmful compounds. So bioremediation is a low cost and generally benign environmental impact. So they doesn't have a very prominent environmental impact, but the benign one. So however, it is not always the technology of choice, but this is not used in general because of the bioremediation process involves the bioremediation choice can be selected on the basis of the site, topography, availability. Okay, so all these factors make it little bit complex. So improved predictive and process validation capabilities would help stimulate wider use of this technology. So how can we increase the use of this process? Research also could lead to development of biotechnologies, microbiology to remediate areas contaminated by the metallic pollution or pesticidal pollution or the pollution created by the radioactive elements or other non-toxic materials or any mixed wastes. So it eliminates contaminants through biochemical transformation. So how these microbes involved in the bioremediation process? So they just transform these complex biomolecules into a simpler substances and avoids chemical and physical treatment that operates in situ and is little bit cost effective. So there are various research reports that is being carried on in different research institutions. So the topic of this the objective of this topic was to let you know what is the bioremediation and how it occurs. How can we do in case of aquaculture? Prior to that, we have to take consideration few of the factors and conditions affecting bioremediation. So in situ bioremediation, what is this? There are two kinds of bioremediation, that is one in situ bioremediation and the another one is ex situ bioremediation. So in situ bioremediation is highly dependent on site conditions and soil properties. The success of bioremediation depends on having the right kind of microbes at the right place with right environment factors. The physico-chemical properties of the environment affect the microbial activity, the contaminant characteristics, natural supply of macronutrients and as well as micronutrients, availability of electron acceptors and subsurface characteristics. So the outcome of each degradation process depends on biomass concentration, enzyme activities and population diversity of microbes. So physico-chemical characteristics and molecular structure of substrate and environmental factors such as pH, temperature, moisture content, electrolyte concentration, availability of electron acceptors and energy sources also affect the biodegradation. So as we have just right now discussed that bioremediation can be classified as either in situ, ex situ, so we were discussing about the technology. These technology are classified as either in situ or ex situ. In situ technology involves the use of organisms or enzymes to remove pollutants in the location that is polluted. Means the process is carried out at the same place. And ex situ technology involves moving contaminated materials from one place to another to particular area or facility where it can be treated. Suppose, as we can see, the municipal waste, the municipal collector, they collect the sludge and waste from your home, they take it and they take it away from your home and do the bioremediation or dumping process somewhere else, isn't it? So this one is the ex situ process. In situ process means the natural contaminants is treated at the site where the contaminant occurs. So in this process there are various definitions like bioremediation is a process, but bioremediation can be classified on the basis of the site characteristics, on the basis of the treatment facility. So this can be divided into two, in situ and ex situ. Bioremediation can be further classified into different classes on the basis of their method of treatment, like bioaugmentation. So what is bioaugmentation? Bioaugmentation is a process by which organisms or enzymes are added to a material to remove unwanted chemicals. So this process will be called as bioaugmentation. So I am repeating it. So what is bioaugmentation? This is a process by which any organism or any biological enzymes are added to a material to remove unwanted chemicals. Bacteria are the most common organisms used in the bioaugmentation process. So there are many applications are accomplished using vegetation to remove excess nutrients, metals and pathogenic bacteria. Wastewater from human and agricultural effluent is cleansed this way. So this process has been used in soils for years to recover degraded areas in agriculture, forests and wastewater treatment. Next, we come to the biofilter. So this is also kind of bioremediation. What is biofilter? The removal of organic materials by passing through compost or soil containing microorganisms capable of degrading the contaminants. So it has been used to remove volatile organic compounds. Generally, you have seen that there are some biofilters that is used in the aquarium as well to remove the nitrogenous waste, fecal material in case of aquaria, and in case of aquaculture we can also use these biofilters, but it becomes costly. So if we cut down the cost of these biofilters, so we as well we can install these biofilters in pond as well. So next is bioreactors. So what is bioreactors? The treatment of contaminated substance in a large tank containing organisms or enzymes. Why bioreactors? It is a tank where the microorganisms are inoculated to react with the contaminants. So why these are called the bioreactors. Okay, so bioreactors are commonly used to remove toxic pollutants from solid waste or any soil. Next, we are going to the biostimulation. So what is biostimulation? The use of nutrient or any substrates to stimulate the naturally occurring organisms that can perform bioremediation. I am repeating it. The use of nutrients or substrate to stimulate the natural occurring organisms that can perform bioremediation. So here we are stimulating the growth of natural inhibiting microbes that can degrade the toxic materials at a particular site. Okay. So the presence of small amounts of the pollutant can also act as a stimulant by turning an oberonce for the bioremediation enzymes. Next is bioventing. So what is bioventing? Similar to biostimulation. This involves process of venting the oxygen through soil to stimulate growth of natural aerobic bacteria, natural aerobic organisms that needs air and introduce bioremediation organisms. And it is predominantly used in soils contaminated with petroleum products, especially. Next is composting. As we have read out through your 9th, 10th study materials, that this involves mixing of contaminated materials with compost containing bioremediation organisms. So the resultant compost mix can be used as a soil augmentation or be placed in a sanitary landfill. Next is what is the microbial process in aquaculture? So microorganism, how these microbial process carried out in an aquatic system or aquaculture. So microorganisms are of major importance in industrial wastewater treatment like paper industry or other and aquaculture. So they reside in the sediment and other substrate. Obviously, if the contaminants are there, there will be naturally inhibiting microbes to degrade that particular toxic material. So they reside in the sediment and other substrates and in the water of aquaculture facilities as well as in and on the cultured species. So these microorganisms may have either positive or negative impacts on the outcome of aquaculture operation. Either it may be beneficial or harmful. So positive microbial activities include elimination of toxic materials such as ammonia, nitrite and hydrogen sulfide, degradation of uneaten feed and nutrition of aquatic animals such as shrimp, fish, production of aquafarming and so on. So these and other functions make microorganisms key players in the health and sustainability of aquaculture. Yet microorganisms are among the least known and understood elements in aquaculture. So this is the point. Like other areas in aquaculture, microorganisms require management and manipulation. So process control by microorganisms can occur aerobically or anaerobically as we are knowing till date according to the classification of bacteria depends on the availability of oxygen. So the starting materials and the end products of such process vary based on the microorganisms' capabilities, and this may be reflected in their genetic makeup and the environment in which this process occurs. Example: availability of oxygen, temperature, salinity, pressure, pH, electrolyte concentration, and so on. So how aerobic microbial process in aquaculture takes place? So generally, aerobic microbial process build compounds which can be beneficial and are either not toxic or have low toxicity levels in aquaculture ponds or tanks. Okay. So oxidation of ammonia to nitrate via nitrite, as you have well known about the nitrogen cycle. So which also consumes large quantity of oxygen. So how ammonia converted into nitrite, nitrite converted into nitrate to the nitrification and denitrification process, and how these nitrates are used by plants. Okay, and you can see that nitrite is, what is nitrite? Nitrite is designated by NO, isn't it? NO2 or NO3, NO2 or N2O, N2O, and nitrate is NO3. So oxidation of reduced sulfur compounds such as hydrogen sulfide and elemental sulfur to sulfate. So we have to also study the different nutrient cycle. So you just go through with this cycle, so that next class, if possible, we can discuss on the different cycles. Okay. Next, conversion of carbon dioxide to biomass by autotrophic bacteria such as the nitrifying bacteria, with relatively small amount of biomass produced in aquaculture facilities when compared to the conversion of carbon dioxide to biomass by algae. Excluding feeding, the photosynthetic process in aquaculture is the main input of carbon source and natural food for aquatic animals. Then anaerobic microbial process in aquaculture, how does it take place? Microbial anaerobic process, if not controlled, can produce compounds that are highly toxic to cultured animals like hydrogen sulfide. Then consumption of organic matter without the utilization of free oxygen, resulting in products which are usually not fully oxidized, reduction of nitrate and nitrite, which can yield either nitrogen gas or ammonia. So as we know that in case of aquaculture, this is the toxicity of ammonia and nitrite, and so why these ammonia production is not welcomed, and reduction of sulfur compounds to hydrogen sulfide as a final product, and as a compound it is a toxic to most animals at even very low concentration. Okay, even 0.2 ppm of H2S is hazardous for the whole stock of finfish. Then what is the advantages of bioremediation? So it is a natural process, as we know. So it usually does not produce toxic byproducts. Bioremediation destroys the target chemicals. Bioremediation is usually less expensive than other technology because in which we use naturally inhabiting microbes found at the site. So it can be used where the problem is located and cannot be treated by the other synthetic materials. Then what are the disadvantages? So if there is advantage, there are some disadvantages as well. So the disadvantage is the cleanup using bioremediation often takes longer than other actions such as incineration. So incineration is also a sterilization process. So if we use this bioremediation process, because this is naturally this is dependent on the natural microbes, so the process of cleaning is longer than that of the incinerating procedures and compared to other process. The process must be carefully monitored to ensure the effectiveness. So what is the conclusion? So we conclude that this is a bioremediation is an emerging field and it involves multidisciplinary technology, because from the identification of microbes to isolation of particular.
Hello.
Yes. Isolation of particular microbes to the identification of particular genome responsible for the degradation of complex organic or inorganic molecules. So the results obtained so far showed that bioremediation in its many form can solve the environmental problem of water.
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
सर आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही है सर.
Okay, 1 minute.
पता नहीं सर, शुरू से भी कट कट के आ रही, बीच बीच में कट जाती है सर आवाज.
1 minute.
तो अपना इंटरनेट कनेक्शन देखो.